Welcome to the Tennet Indigenous Wisdom Research Center. I am your host, author Tennet Setegn. In this broadcast series, we explore the profound mysteries within our research. Ethiopian esoteric philosophy and alchemy. Our journey into channeling hidden wisdom begins now.
I want you to just take a second and look at whatever device is currently telling you the time.
Yeah, your phone, your watch, whatever's handy.
Right, like maybe it's that little digital readout hovering in the corner of your screen. And, when you see those numbers ticking by or like that second hand sweeping in a circle, we're just so heavily conditioned to view those ticks as pure mathematics.
Oh, totally. Just this cold mechanical measurement.
Exactly, a mechanical measurement of the universe just passing us by. But imagine for a moment that those ticking seconds are not just math. Like, imagine if that measurement you're looking at is actually the living, breathing byproduct of a cosmic fusion involving 10 ancient entities.
Which is just a huge paradigm shift. I mean, framing time not as this fundamental law of physics, but as a biological or metaphysical exhaust.
Yeah.
It completely upends our relationship with the clock. It stops being this relentless tool for productivity and, starts becoming a window into an architecture we usually just can't perceive.
Yeah. So welcome to today's deep dive. We're embarking on a real exploration of the absolute origins of time today.
It's a big one.
It really is. And our roadmap for this investigation comes directly from the concepts presented by researcher Tennet Setegn in the Tennet Research Series.
Right.
Specifically, we're pulling from the frameworks laid out in parts 10 and 11 of that source material.
I think it's crucial to just set our baseline here, right at this.
Oh, definitely.
We are not looking at time through the lens of modern astrophysics today. We're not, talking about the space-time continuum or relativity or quantum mechanics.
No physics textbooks today.
Right. We're stepping into a profound philosophical architecture. The text is basically asking us to view time as a structure built by 10 specific celestial beings. So we kind of have to leave our preconceived notions of physics at the door.
Yeah.
And just enter this space where time is a generated byproduct of divine action.
Okay, let's unpack this, because my brain is already trying to visualize how you even begin to measure anything before time actually exists.
Right, it's a real mind bender.
Seriously. Like, in the earlier parts of the source material, the researcher introduced these 10 beings, and they exist in this unseen divine realm, grouped together, like some in threes, some in fours. But the core puzzle that Tennet Setegn raises, and the one we really need to unravel today, is how the very first celestial day came to be.
And the challenge there is just profound. I mean, how do you measure a day in a realm where time just hasn't been established yet?
Right. What's the metric?
Exactly. And to tackle that, the text forces us to understand how things happen in a completely timeless void. Because before we can measure duration, we have to define what an occurrence even is.
Yeah.
So the sources draw a very sharp, very vital distinction between two concepts to solve this. There's an event and a scene.
The metaphysical mechanics of how something simply starts.
Yeah.
So let's look at the event first.
Right. So in the source, the term used for event is kistet.
Kistet.
And the researcher explains that these 10 beings from the unseen divine realm, they didn't arrive in the celestial realm sequentially.
Like, they didn't march in one by one.
Right. No single file line. They manifested through a kistet. And by definition, this event is an instantaneous occurrence.
Wow.
It has absolutely zero duration. It doesn't evolve gradually. There's no startup phase.
Right.
It just simply happens.
I am trying to picture something happening without a timeline attached to it, and it's tough. It kind of defies our normal understanding of cause and effect.
Because our brains are wired for it.
Exactly. Our brains rely on time to process the before and after of an arrival. Like, if a train arrives at a station, there's a period where it's approaching, a period where it's stopping, and a period where it has stopped.
But in this framework, there is no approaching. The event of their manifestation is just absolute.
So just boom.
Right. The void is empty, and then without even a fraction of a second passing, the void is occupied by these 10 beings.
Okay, so think of an event like flipping a light switch in a completely dark house.
That's a great way to look at it.
Like, the light doesn't travel into the room on a little bicycle, entering through the door and filling the corners one by one. The state of the room changes in a flash.
Instantly.
Right. The room was dark, the room is illuminated, the switch is the event. But a scene, which the source calls tayent, is what happens after the lights are on. So a scene is like a person walking from the living room to the kitchen to get a glass of water. The scene requires action, it requires movement, it requires a sequence of steps.
Exactly. Once those lights are on, the dynamic shifts entirely.
Yeah.
The kistet, the event, is merely the arrival. It establishes presence, but it doesn't involve action.
Right.
It's what happens next. The tie-in, the scene, and all the subsequent actions of these 10 celestial beings that really starts the gears of the cosmos turning.
So the event puts the actors on the stage.
And the scene is the unfolding of the play itself.
Got it. And these 10 beings don't just sit static on the stage once the lights are on.
Right, they have a whole agenda.
They have a progression they're supposed to move through.
And this progression is really the engine of creation in Setegn's research. The sources outline a very specific 3-stage evolution that these celestial entities undergo right after their instant manifestation.
So let's break down those 3 stages, because the terminology the researcher uses here carries a lot of philosophical weight.
It really does. So the first stage is the hidden. In the text, this is referred to as Suron.
Suron.
Right. When they first manifest via the event, they are in a state of being completely concealed.
Like they are pure potential energy.
Yes. They occupy the space, but they aren't acting upon it yet, or making themselves known within it.
Okay, so that's stage 1.
Then, from the hidden, they progress to the second stage, which is the living, or Hayawan.
Hayawan.
And this implies a quickening. It's an animation, a movement from that dormant potential into a state of active, pulsing existence.
Okay, so they're waking up, basically.
Exactly. And finally, they progress to the third stage, the manifest, or Guzawan.
Guzawan.
This is full realization.
Yes.
Complete, visible, actualized presence. The hidden potential hasn't just awakened, it has completely revealed its nature.
Wait, hold on. I'm losing the thread here just a bit.
Okay, what part?
Well, you're saying they go with step 1, step 2, step 3. Hidden, living, manifest.
Right.
But steps require sequence. And sequence requires time. I mean, you can't use time to create time. That's a total circular argument.
Yes, it is.
So how does Tennet Setegn actually get around this paradox of a progression happening before time has been established to even allow for that progression?
What's fascinating here is that the source material anticipates that exact logical wall. I mean, it's brilliant. We are so used to thinking of time as a container.
Like a box.
Right. We think of time as a room that events happen inside of. If I walk across the room, I am moving through time. But in this metaphysical framework, time is not the room. Time is the exhaust.
The exhaust.
Yes. The 10 beings do not move from hidden to living to manifest inside of a pre-existing timeline. The very act of them undergoing that transformation, culminating in all 10 of them fusing together into one united singular entity, that action is the mechanism that generates time.
Oh, wow. So the action itself is manufacturing the measurement.
Think of a chemical reaction. You mix 2 room temperature liquids in a beaker,
Yeah.
and suddenly the glass is boiling hot.
Right.
The heat wasn't in liquid A and it wasn't in liquid B. The heat is the friction of those chemical bonds breaking and forming. The heat is a byproduct.
That makes so much sense.
So in this framework, time is the heat generated by the friction of these 10 distinct entities progressing and finally merging into one.
The friction of their fusion creates the heat of time. That is incredible. So the duration from their initial manifestation, that instantaneous event, to their complete total fusion as the manifest, that exact amount of conceptual friction is the measurement of one celestial day.
Exactly. Time didn't exist waiting for them to act. Time is simply the footprint left behind by their merging.
It's just wild to think about.
It is. And the completion of their fusion is the completion of that first celestial day. They create a wholeness, a singularity. The raw, timeless void was transformed into measured existence entirely because these 10 beings unified.
So when we talk about the origins of time in this context, we aren't talking about a physical Big Bang exploding outward.
No, not at all.
We are talking about 10 divine concepts folding inward.
Folding inward to become one. Exactly.
It entirely flips the hierarchy of reality. Like, we think time rules us, that it's this overarching law dictating our lives, but this philosophy implies time is just an artifact of something much larger, seeking unity.
And once you grasp that time is the byproduct of divine fusion, the nature of how we experience reality starts to shift.
How so?
Well, this isn't just an abstract cosmological story about the heavens. The structure of that initial celestial day echoes all the way down into the physical mechanics of our world.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Because if you are someone who constantly feels like you are running out of time or you're always fighting the clock, this philosophy completely reframes what you are actually experiencing.
It really does.
You aren't just moving through arbitrary hours. The source material draws a direct, unbreakable line between this massive abstract concept of the celestial day and the literal 24 hours we experience down here on Earth.
Right. It relies heavily on that classic philosophical principle of as above, so below.
The macrocosm reflected in the microcosm.
Exactly. The researcher breaks down our earthly 24-hour day, but instead of looking at it as, 24 separate mechanical slices of an hour, they divide it into 4 distinct 6-hour blocks.
And these 4 blocks perfectly, completely symmetrically mirror the celestial phases of those 10 beings we just discussed.
Yeah.
So instead of just listing the hours, let's look at the actual human experience of these blocks of time.
Good idea. And we begin with the evening, actually. Because in this system, as in a lot of ancient and indigenous timekeeping systems, the day actually begins as the sun goes down, not at midnight.
Right. So the first block is from 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. The sun sets, the world gets dark. According to the source, this 6-hour block corresponds to the time of the hidden,
The Surin.
the Suran. And just think about the psychological shift that happens as evening falls. The visible world just retreats. The horizon vanishes, colors fade to gray and black. Things are concealed in shadow.
And the Earth itself is mirroring that first initial stage of the celestial beings when they manifested but were not yet active.
Right, they were present but concealed.
So when you experience the sun going down, you are physically inhabiting the phase of the hidden.
That's so cool. And then we transition to the next block. From 12 a.m. midnight to 6 a.m., the deep night.
Yeah.
For most of us, this is the time of sleep. You would assume this is the quietest, most dormant time. But the source aligns this specific block with the time of the living, the Hayawan.
Right, which seems counterintuitive until you really look at it. The researcher notes that this is the time representing the nocturnal movement of living creatures.
Okay, yeah.
Think of the eerie aliveness of the world at, 3:00 a.m.
Well, for sure.
There are unseen ecologies, nocturnal predators, insects. All the hidden biological rhythms of the planet become incredibly active in these hours. The world is heavily alive, moving and quickening in the dark.
Anyone who has ever been awake in the middle of the night knows exactly that feeling. It isn't dead quiet, it is pulsing. It totally mirrors that second celestial phase where the hidden potential begins to animate and become living action.
And then we reach 6 a.m. The sun rises. Dawn breaks. From 6 a.m. to 12 p.m. high noon, we enter the time of the manifest.
The Gazawan.
The alarm clock goes off, the harsh reality of the morning.
Exactly.
Everything that was hidden in the evening and then animating in the dark is now made completely visible by the morning light. The world is just let bare. You have to go to work. You have to face the physical reality of your life. Reality is fully actualized in those morning hours. Just like the celestial beings moved from hidden to living and then became manifest.
Wow.
The earthly morning is a daily reenactment of that celestial realization.
Which brings us to the final block, from 12 p.m. midday to 6 p.m. as the sun begins to lower again.
And this is the time of fusion.
The culmination of the afternoon, like the workday ends, elements of the day draw together.
Right, the ultimate merging of those celestial entities, the very fusion that generated time in the first place, is reflected in this specific block.
Well, that's beautiful.
The afternoon on Earth represents that completion, the drawing together of all those disparate elements into a unified whole right before the cycle resets at 6 p.m.
When you lay it out not as just mechanical hours, but as phases of existence, it is incredibly elegant, like 6 p.m. to midnight. Hidden, midnight to 6 a.m., living, 6 a.m. to noon, manifest, and noon to 6 p.m., fusion.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it really redefines the anxiety we often feel about time passing. We aren't just losing hours. We were participating in a daily reenactment of a divine cosmic fusion.
Yeah.
The architecture of our earthly reality is quite literally built out of the life cycle of these 10 celestial beings.
It changes how you look at the progression of your whole day. The passage of a day isn't about decay or like a resource just slipping through your fingers.
No, it's an active movement toward completion.
Yeah.
You're moving through the stages of actualization.
But the creation of time through that initial celestial fusion was merely the foundation, right?
Right. The event happened, the beings fused, they established the celestial day. But now that time exists as a framework, the scenes,
Yeah.
the actions can finally unfold within it.
Because a stage that has just been built is meant to be acted upon.
Exactly.
The source material explicitly mentions that after this initial celestial day was established, the subsequent scenes unfold according to 7 distinct stages. And these 7 stages detail the descent of this cosmic reality all the way down, step by step, into our dense physical earthly realm.
Yeah, and the researcher knows that this massive cosmological descent, how a timeless thought eventually becomes the physical dirt under our feet, is a topic reserved for the next phase of the research.
Part 12, right?
Yes, they state it will be covered in Part 12.
We will certainly be waiting for that material to see how the blueprint translates into actual physical matter.
It's going to be intense.
So what does this all mean for you? I mean, we started by asking you to just look at a clock or a watch or a screen. We journeyed all the way back to a timeless void where 10 unseen beings instantly manifested in an event with absolutely no duration and no before. We explored how they progressed from the hidden to the living to the manifest. We saw how their ultimate fusion didn't happen inside of time, but generated time like heat from a chemical reaction, establishing the very first celestial day.
Which is just a brilliant framework.
It really is. And we brought it all back down to the rhythm of your daily life, showing how the 24 hours you experience are broken into 4 blocks that perfectly mirror that exact cosmic journey.
This raises an important question, though.
Oh.
Well, if our 24-hour day is just a localized earthly echo of this celestial fusion, what happens when we break out of the cycle?
Oh, that's interesting, because we are so bound to this earthly reenactment, the hidden, the living, the manifest, the fusion, but we don't always stay anchored to it.
Exactly. What happens to your experience of time when you enter deep, dreamless sleep?
You completely lose track of the hours.
Right. You wake up and you have absolutely no internal metric to tell you if you've been asleep for 10 minutes or 10 hours.
It's true. Time completely evaporates from your consciousness.
So in that state, you are entirely untethered from the earthly scene.
Wow.
In that moment of profound disconnection, are you simply resting? Or are you briefly, momentarily tapping back into that original, timeless event?
By disconnecting from the ticking clock, are you returning to the Kistet?
Returning to the instantaneous.
Dropping back into the void before the clock even started ticking? That is a massive concept to carry with you.
It really is.
Like the next time you wake up completely disoriented with just no idea what time it is, consider that you might not just be tired. You might have just taken a brief trip back to the absolute origins of the cosmos.
It certainly adds a layer of metaphysical weight to closing your eyes at night.
It really does. It is incredibly rewarding to look at the fabric of reality through such a meticulously constructed lens. We spend so much time worrying about the clock. It's honestly a relief to realize we might just be walking inside a footprint left behind by something much larger. So keep questioning the reality around you. Keep looking for the hidden structures in your day. Take a moment tonight between 6 p.m. and midnight to just notice the physical feeling of the hidden. Thanks for exploring with us. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.